Lauren Waldrip is the new executive director of the Arkansas Advanced Energy Association. That group does a lot to promote and advocate for renewable energy across the state. We caught up with what's happening in the industry. You are in a new role with the Arkansas Advanced Energy Association, the AAEA, as it is sometimes acronymically referred to. I don't know if that's a word or not, but we just made it one. What does the association do, and what do you hope to achieve in your new role as executive director?
Sure. So we have about 150 members currently. We're seeing that expand as the advanced energy sector and industry grows. But we represent those folks certainly on an advocacy standpoint at the state and federal legislatures. But what we're seeing is a growth not only in providers of advanced energy, so wind, solar, performance contractors, energy efficiency companies, not only in the providers of those things, but also the users of those things. And so certainly on an advocacy standpoint, for the past two legislative sessions, we've done a good job in coalition building to best represent those folks and their needs. We're hopeful that in the future, again, as our industry grows, we can be less reactive and more proactive on their behalf. But it's certainly a good time to be in our industry.
Um, well, I will say that there was some big news this week related to your industry, and that is that Canoe, an electric vehicle startup, announced that they're going to pick Arkansas for not only their corporate headquarters, but also a facility that will be involved in research and some manufacturing. This is kind of a big deal. How big of a potential game changer could this be for the electric vehicle industry, the renewable energy industry?
Certainly a very big deal, Roby. I think Arkansas has really put itself on the map generally for advanced energy. We have some of the most favorable net metering laws and rules and regulations in the nation. And I think that folks are realizing that this is the place where they want to do business because our state legislature and our Public Service Commission, through their actions, have made it very clear that they want this to be a good place to do business if you're in the advanced energy industry. From a legislative standpoint, we know that President Biden just this week signed the infrastructure package. From an EV standpoint, we know that there will be resources that will go to support that. From an advanced energy component, there have been numbers around $73 billion that, again, of federal resources that will support our efforts and adoption of advanced energy. That number is a little bit debatable, but I think regardless, the principle still stands that there's certainly a big investment to be made. I also think it's important to know that that's a bipartisan issue, and it was passed with bipartisan support. And so, this is something that is first and foremost an economic benefit to the state. And at the end of the day, it's going to benefit all of Arkansas.
And some of the public policy that has been adopted by the Arkansas legislature has also been bipartisan too. I would note there has been a lot happening in the advancement of renewable energy and things that your association supports. It's not without challenges though too. What's kind of out there on the horizon in terms of it's not all rosy all the time, I don't think.
No, it's not, unfortunately. That's a lot of what we do as an association is we can come in and not only serve our membership, but all of Arkansas and Arkansans who are trying to utilize some of these laws that were intended for them to be able to take advantage of clean energy. Although one issue that we're working on right now is that several co-ops are requiring application fees of $500 and upwards of $25 million in insurance coverage before allowing their residential members to install and run solar. So the cost of these fees and insurance is often more expensive than the customer's utility bill, what we're seeing is that it stops the adoption of renewable resources in those co-ops territories. In fact, some of our members have even had to stop serving those co-op territories altogether because of the requirements that those co-ops are setting. And so we just don't think that's good for Arkansans. We don't think it's consistent with the intent, like you said, of the General Assembly. So there is some federal regulation that exists that allows those co-ops to charge an application fee and insurance. But what's important to know is that the feds don't set the amount. That amount, as just like with all utility charges, fees, and rates in Arkansas, is within the jurisdiction of the Arkansas Public Service Commission. And so what we're seeing is a situation where these co-ops made that decision themselves without seeking approval from the commission. So we're working with the co-ops, we're working with the commission and the General Assembly to resolve it. But in the meantime, we just want to make sure that Arkansans who want to use renewable energy aren't suffering and losing out on the closing window of that equitable net metering that is set to expire in December of next year.
I don't know enough about that issue to challenge you one way or the other on that, but I will say that over the last several years, I think almost every week I get a press release in my inbox from one of the electric companies, whether it's one of the co-ops or one of the other utility providers in the state, advancing solar power, building a field, setting up some sort of partnership with a community or a school district. What do you see on the future for solar power in Arkansas? Are we going to see more of those types of projects? Has it reached some sort of critical mass, or are there other roadblocks?
Sure. No, I think you're certainly right, Roby. This isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And as solar becomes more affordable, as the administration is putting in, different requirements or goals, we're seeing a significant increase. And so, that's certainly, again, something that's exciting. But, before I got into the Advanced Energy Association, I was slowly noticing how deep and wide, I guess, our reach is as an industry. So we're not just the providers of these things, but we're also, it's agriculture, it's education, it's manufacturing. It's a significant part of Arkansas. Our membership has grown to include CPAs and attorneys and architects and engineers and contractors. They all are trying to get into this industry because of the way that it's growing. And so this is something that's not debatable.